Update on Project Homestead. This gate I had been using for keeping the dogs in for a while, since the front side of the property had just slatted fences for horses. And I've since put some fencing up there and a gate further up, which we'll go around and see in just a second here. And the material from the pond, which still needs more to be dug, so I'll dig a little bit more of the pond out, which will give me the remainder of the material. I have some little trails that I've cut in around here. And this one had a low spot on the properties. I actually installed the fence, the entire property line through here. This is all built up with basically just all the material from the pond. And what you have here is 2 posts that will have a gate right at that wood level there. So this that I'm standing on, which is clearly a little bit elevated from there. It's kind of hard to see actually unless I get down here to show you that it's up higher. But this material here will go all the way and ramp up to this. And what that will do is connect to those little 2 trails that I've put on the front side. And I'll put another gate here, and I'll do a tapered, like a 45-degree angle fencing there, so no one can kind of do any jumps over the fence and keep it all enclosed. But this will give a total of 3 gates that'll go up to the front. These ones will be smaller, so they're just walking trails to get to the what I'll refer to as the orchard from now on, because I planted a bunch of fruit trees up there just recently. And this little path goes up here, cuts along, and goes to that property edge. Got cobwebs all over me doing that. This one goes up to the property edge as I walk with my stick, and I kind of flail it above me in front of me so that I don't get cobwebs. But fence line continues all the way back up there, and I've already started planting some greenery there to make the little green barrier between the 2 lots, me and the neighbor. And then the dogs now have access to all 4 acres, so the backside is actually fenced in for livestock or whatnot. So they lose a little bit there, but they had all around the house up into this gate previously. And now with the new add-on, we can have a little longer walk. And we actually, well, me and the dogs know this as the pond walk. So I take a couple breaks during the course of the day, depending on how hot it is, to take a stroll with the dogs around the pond. It's just a good way to add some extra steps into my day and bring them along for a little walk. They love it. Come on, pups. Come on, Pinky. Good girl, Luna. Good boy, Bing. Yeah, they love this. And that actually connects to those paddocks up here, so I can actually do a full walk around, but can't really bring the dogs in with the chickens. And the chickens live with the goats, so, you know, it is what it is. But this is the little path that connects. This little pasture here connects back, has a little bridge. There's a little bit of runoff from that low area. Water does collect. It doesn't really run, but it seeps through and it comes down here. You can see down in that corner there, and then up through the woods. That is all the marsh of Goose Marsh, ironically. And this tree didn't make it on the top side, but the roots did spawn some suckers at the bottom, which I'm letting grow back up, because some of these trees I transplanted didn't quite make it, but they're still trying. This myrtle did really well. Check out this spider. Almost just ran right into him. Or her, not really sure. But oh, he's on the move. It'll be hard to get. The bucket on the tree was a swarm trap, so that's still up there. I got to take it down. This will be right here. I'm going to put the stream that'll come down through this way and fill into there. So when the pond overflows, this is where it will run through. I've been looking at the material for that. This is the drainage ditch between me and the neighboring property, which was the other usage for the material that came out of the pond so far. And the pond will actually come to roughly over here-ish and come inside this loop here. So this whole section will be taken out, and then the little stream will start there and go back down into the marsh there. So then it'll run parallel to this drainage ditch, which is actually quite deep in between me and the neighbor. But that gives me a path on this side of the pond to walk around. It'll give me a little path and then a bridge that'll go over the start of the stream, go back onto the orchard side of it. I am going to cut out this center section between the trees, so this plot of trees and that plot of trees will effectively be small islands, and the pond will be like an 8 shape. And you can't really see it easily, but you can tell that there's a slope that goes this way, and this property actually from there sloped down and was at almost the water height at the edge, or a little bit lower, higher than that. So I took all the material out of the pond and graded back, so then all of my runoff water on my property is managed within my own pond, and that way I can kind of keep as much water as possible. The pond has been doing good, and keeping full. I still have to put a little more gypsum in there to settle the clay that keeps coming in, but all sorts of little critters between tadpoles and little frogs have been occupying the pond, which is great. Starting to get some life in there. Everyone loves a little pond. Frogs, turtles, all the friends. But this is all nice and graded. There's my other swarm trap up there. I only caught one swarm this year, so it was pretty unproductive for that. This is all the fencing that is behind that fence to make it so the dogs don't jump through, because they would just jump through that before. So it just rained the other day, so we still have a little bit of water in this, the leach pond, what would be the first filter, or the bog. And it's working exactly as it should. A little barrier in between. Atlas loves that little bridge. You can see this water's a little bit taller than that, so it's still seeping down in, and eventually will all end up in there and or evaporate on its own. That one's usually relatively dry. That one stays pretty mild, but once it just rains, you always have a little bit of water in there. Let's see. Further along the journey, this trail goes up and around. I have a couple trails that I've cut into this too, so there's some cute little zigzags for the dogs. They like the run around and play adventure trails, so this keeps it interesting for them. This is one of the pear trees. This one's huge. I have to top it a little bit. I have to get a ladder out here for that. And this is the other pear tree. Actually, I'm going to put it on wide angle for this, because once we get into the orchard, it's a little bit wider needed. But those are my first 2 pears. This guy needs a lot of trimming. That one, it's a peach tree, and then a plum. And then I got about 30 assorted peach, pear, and apple. And they are doing pretty darn good, along with actually some blueberries and blackberries up here on the front side. So it starts with a plum over here. Actually, before I go to that, that's the new double gate on the roadside. So put in 2 posts and then continue that fence completely down the property line. So now we're completely boxed in. Dogs love it. I love it. Makes pond walk a lot easier. You can see that's that other little trail, and it hooks in deliberately, and so does the other one, so you can't actually see to the front side, so it just looks like woods from here. But if you go onto it, then you can see that other trail that we started off on over there. That's one entrance, and this is the other entrance. Those are the blueberries and blackberries. And this is the little orchard so far. You can see I left all the little markers on the tree so I can index this all at some point. I'll do a cataloging of each individual tree and its little tags. I won't obviously post that, but I keep some of the videos on my YouTube as referential for myself. That's actually where this all started from. So I just needed reference videos to keep track of stuff, and some of them I just made public, and here we are. But yeah, we got some peach trees, plum trees, pear trees, peach, pear, peach. I think there are like 10 or 12 apple trees along the way. 2 of the apples didn't make it, but these all do have a 1-year warranty on them, and they're all doing exceptionally well, considering we had a really big bout of, I think there are potato beetles that came in and were eating the leaves on some of these trees. And as we go around, even more trees. And I did deliberately put them close to a tree line. I know a lot of arborists would argue you want to give them tons of space, and I do think some space is necessary, but in the climate and the soil conditions that we have here, the clay is really compact. So if there's no good root structure, it's likely the tree's roots won't be able to permeate that clay. So as a deliberate choice, I moved them all close to what will be these semi-island like areas, which will be inhabited by other biological things. So I'll keep all of the other trees a little bit trimmed back to allow the fruit trees to be the successor, but still share in the water and root system distribution of minerals that you get from being part of an ecosystem. So that is the Fruitopia we got going on over here. It's pretty fun. And I think that's all of the exciting stuff on the orchard side. Some of these other plants that are transplanted here, like the myrtles, are coming back. Not completely, but a large percentage of them is coming back in. And then we'll walk down this, and I just used the tractor to push a dead tree back just the other day on this little trail. But this is the other little set of trails. And again, this is elevated. We're standing on probably 3 feet tall right here, and it was flat out there, and it slowly grades out here. I'm about 2.5, 3 feet off the ground, off of the side by ground where I would have been had I not brought this material in. That's the side over there that Titan just came in. And then this path will go and connect the same. It'll go directly out, connect to that board there, have a gate, and that will allow me to gate off that side of the property from the orchard. So if I ever want to keep the dogs out or in, that is a possibility. But that is the latest and the greatest from the Little Burke farm.